Our first question comes from Kim, and Kim has a question that involves being in a car accident. Kim says, I was in a serious car wreck and I have many outstanding bills that insurance is not taking care of, and it's getting bad. How would declaring bankruptcy affect my ability to sue and get my bills paid? What should I do? So, Alex, what should she do?
Morgan, this is a great question because it involves an overlap between what we do, that is personal injury car accidents, and what Alex does. And it shows how you can't look at things in a vacuum. Bankruptcy may be an option, but once Kim files bankruptcy because of the bills that were incurred from this accident, then she loses, and I, as her attorney, would, if I was representing her, lose control of what happens with her case. She no longer has ownership of that case. It is transferred to the bankruptcy court. And the bankruptcy court generally works with us and hires us back to handle it. But the ultimate decision, and that is whether to go to trial, how much money to settle for, ultimately has to be approved by the bankruptcy court. And from that standpoint, we try to keep people out of bankruptcy. And if the only thing that is causing the bankruptcy problem are the bills coming from that flow from the accident itself and the treatment for injuries received in that accident, we try to keep them out of bankruptcy the best we can and work with creditors until we are able to get it resolved, and then we pay the creditors out of what we receive. But oftentimes, there are a lot of people, especially with COVID the way it is, are in bad financial shape, and it's the tipping of the iceberg. And when that happens, we send them to somebody like Alex, and we work with Alex regularly on something like this, and he keeps us out of trouble in navigating all the things that are different in bankruptcy court, because it is a totally separate court from where we are. So with that being said, Alex, kind of explain what happens once we call you up and say, hey, our client needs to file bankruptcy. We're sending it to you. What do you do?
Well, the first thing is and I'm glad we have a good relationship, but the two attorneys need to kind of go over the facts. I mean, I would meet with the client knowing that she is either attempting to, let's say it's a car wreck. Has she filed suit? Is she planning on filing suit? And I would talk to you about that. And second, what's the amount of medical bills? What's the total amount of debt besides medical bills? And what do we think, the potential settlement, or if you went to trial, what you could get out of the suit? There's so many different factors. But oftentimes you would, as their attorney, if we think it might be a good idea that you could discharge your, some of those medical bills in the bankruptcy, you can still keep some of the proceeds from the personal injury suit if you are under bankruptcy. There's certain exemptions you get for that. And I believe the total is $21,200 that would, that's cash that you could keep from the settlement. But it really depends, like I always say on this show, these are fact specific. Now, sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes you are in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, which, it lasts 3 to 5 years. So stuff can happen in 3 to 5 years, as we know. You're already in a bankruptcy, so there's not really a choice. And, I make it clear to my clients, if something like this happens, let me know, because we need to deal with it. And, you don't want to lose your claim by not disclosing it in a bankruptcy. So it's very important that you're very transparent with, your personal injury attorney, in this case, Wendell, and your bankruptcy attorney, so we can get together and figure out what needs to be done. But this happens all the time, as you know, Wendell. They intersect a lot, and based on the situation, we just try to find the right solution that will benefit the client overall in both cases.
And I think the most important thing that Alex said is you've got to let your bankruptcy attorney and personal injury attorney know that you've been in the wreck, because if you don't disclose it in bankruptcy, your claim can totally be defeated and you not be able to bring it.